The year was 1902, and Indiana was building an improved system of locks along the Ohio River. This would allow bigger ships to carry more cargo, from Pennsylvania all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. The first challenge was to dredge the river and remove large deposits of sand. They needed the river to have a guaranteed depth for these large ships. As late as the 1860s, the water could be as low as 3 feet in some sections of the river. In fact, these known low spots were used by runaway slaves. Dredging equipment removed tons of sand from the riverbed, making it at least 20 feet deep. But when they began dumping this sand on the Evansville riverbank, they found something they did not expect. They found what looked like a human body, but this one was petrified, like an ancient fossil. I've traveled hundreds of miles of Indiana roads. I've met many wonderful people, and have heard a fair share of folklore as I've visited places off the beaten path. Some of it is so crazy that it just can't be true, even if it is entertaining. But there's always that little light bulb in the back of your head that turns on and says, what if? From stories of Bigfoot, puckwudgies, river or lake monsters, Black Panthers, ancient explorers, silver mines, and mermaids in the Ohio River. I've heard quite a few. And after I do, I always ask the same question. Are there any pictures? Is there any evidence? Most of the time, there isn't. Sometimes, people swear they've seen something in a library or in a museum that no longer exists, or has suspiciously disappeared, as if someone or something doesn't want the public to know. When I heard about the petrified man found in the Ohio River near Evansville, it sounded like a great campfire story and nothing more. And yet, it was documented by Indiana University, and there was a picture. In 1902, John Eigenmann was the dredging supervisor and took possession of this petrified man. Medical doctors and geologists were called in to examine the body. It was said to be that of a small man, 5.5 feet tall, and anatomically correct. Indiana Governor Winfield Durbin traveled over 3 hours from Indianapolis to see for himself. He thought it was incredible. The question was, how old was it? And where did it come from? The section of river near Evansville was inhabited by an ancient people for thousands of years. Not only did they make a large city of mounds, but over 2.5 million artifacts were excavated by Glenn Black. But fossilization is a very long process, and a petrified human had never been found before. If this was legit, it would rewrite history. The implications were very far-reaching. Realizing the great interest in the petrified man, John Eigenmann set it up as a tourist attraction and started charging admission. As you might imagine, it was a huge sensation, and people lined up to see this curiosity. Seeing that a great deal of money was being made, the man that helped remove it from the sand sued for partial ownership. But this would be short-lived. As quickly as it had appeared, the petrified body vanished, and without a body, there was nothing left to argue about. The case was dismissed. But a short time later, Mr. Eigenmann and the body reappeared at Rockport, where he was again charging admission. Being only a short drive up the river, he was quickly found out, and the exhibit closed. The petrified man was never seen again. But was it truly a legitimate artifact of the past? When an important ancient artifact disappears, people immediately draw conclusions. I bet the Smithsonian stole it. Or maybe it was a rich private collector. Perhaps the evidence provides a truth that our government thinks we can't handle. Or finally, aliens. It's gotta be aliens. But just maybe, the truth is a lot more simple. Scientists tell us that fossilization takes anywhere from thousands to millions of years. It requires very specific conditions for minerals to replace organic matter. And yet, some of the best fossil specimens in the entire world have been collected in and around the Ohio River. It's not that human fossilization is impossible. It's just that humans have never been found in the fossil record anywhere in the world for that time period. It would be a first. But just maybe, it was a hoax from the very beginning. The petrified man looks like a statue. And if there's one place in the world where people can carve statues, that would be southern Indiana. Beneath the soil is a layer of limestone, a perfect material for statues. A great place to see that is at Bedford, Indiana, the limestone capital of the world. At Green Hill Cemetery, you can see some very fine sculptures made by master craftsmen. Many are very lifelike. It could be that the petrified man was a complete hoax, a sculpture, one man's way of making extra money, and he rode that horse as long as he could. The story could be over and done right there. Or it could be he found a priceless artifact, and someone paid a high price to get it. A 1902 newspaper from Owensboro, Kentucky, said Eigenmann had been given, quote, several handsome offers for the peculiar phenomena. Perhaps he took one of those offers, and that's why the petrified man was never seen again. In 1909, John Eigenmann died under mysterious circumstances. The cause of death? Blood poisoning. His obituary did not mention the petrified man, and the secret of where that man is today went to the grave with John Eigenmann. In reality, we could neither confirm nor deny what it was. We only have a picture and some stories. Just another legend among many that make the backstory of southern Indiana.